About 13 years after the first English settlement in America called Jamestown, there was another group of travelers who came to America in search of religious freedom. They wanted to worship God in their own way and separate from the Church of England. They formed their own congregation and called themselves saints. The saints came under persecution in England, and many of these people moved to Holland in Netherlands, seeking religious liberty and a better life. The life in Holland became unbearable because these people couldn't find job, and the parents didn't like the bad influence that the local culture was having on their own children. The saints gathered their families and went back to England. They wanted to go to America where they could to be free to live according their own beliefs. The passengers of the Mayflower was separated in 3 groups. The saints were believers and members of the congregation. The strangers were those people that were looking for a new life. And the crew were officers and working hands of the ship. Altogether there were about 130 people. The first half of the journey was calm, but a lot of passengers became sick. And the second half of the journey was rough and stormy. The Mayflower became damaged, and many people believed that they will not survive. There was not enough fresh water, and the Mayflower became dirty and cold. In the journey, 2 people died. The first was a young man who fell aboard during a storm. After 66 days on the ocean, the Mayflower arrived America. Upon arriving, the Pilgrims made an agreement on paper about how their new colony would be run. That document today is called Mayflower Compact. Each man, before leaving the ship, was asked to sign the Mayflower Compact. The Pilgrims searched the New England coast for a place to settle. There was land to planting crops and harbor for ships, also a river for fresh water. They started to build their house and they called their land New Plymouth. Although the Pilgrims were happy in America, they faced a difficult and cold winter. In that first and difficult winter, half of the people died. Also, Native Americans saw the families come off the Mayflower and they hoped that they will come in peace. The Native Americans and the Pilgrims formed a treaty that helped for peaceful relations between these 2 cultures. 1 year later, the Pilgrims invited the Native Americans to join them for a feast. Life was not easy for the Pilgrims, especially in those first years. The most important thing for them was to freely practice their religion.